Hi, and welcome to a digital art tutorial on my smudge style painting technique. I'm going to be working over a piece that Philip Tan did, a pencil sketch. Here you're seeing sort of the end product, and I'll show you how to get to the end product. Um, because I have the layer still, that is what I originally had. So I'm going to get rid of all these other layers. I'm just dragging them to the trash. Alright, this is what Philip originally gave me. Something that clearly that was probably supposed to be inked at one time. A lot of hatching, kind of a sketchy thing for him. Usually he's a little even tighter than this. But yeah, cool monster and goat head and all kinds of scary stuff going on here. Anyway, how I'm going to start is I'm going to start by making the pencils into almost like a black and white painting. And then the next step will be to add color and then textures and such beyond that. So let's go ahead and get started. Of course, since it's smudge technique, we'll be using the smudge tool. Ta-da! And let's see. I have a preset here, and I'll go through what this brush is. This is basically a hard brush, and I'll show you exactly what the setting is. I'm going to take the shape off. This is just going to be specifically for our main brush for smudging stuff around. And I'm almost taking the approach of like, it's almost like I'm working over Philip's real pencil, so I can still kind of smudge them around with my finger or with a blending stop, as if they were pastels or some other soft medium. Let's see what we got here. Other dynamics. Okay, we need strength. We'll leave that on. Let's go to the brush tip shape. Let's lower the spacing down to 1. Okay, now that's going to be a nice brush for us to smear around with. So let's close that. And what I'm going to do is just rub back and forth, and I'm starting to blend the shape. See how I'm going, if there's hatches going this way, in this direction, I'm going that way if I want to blend them. I'm just smooth lightly. If I go over too heavy, that's what happens when you press very hard. I'm just pressing lightly, and I'm using little back and forth strokes for the most part, following some of the shapes as I'm working in there. And I'm working on her face right now. And you can see how I'm just blending. I'm keeping some edges. See, I like that edge there by the nose. So I'm going to keep that. Blend in here. Blend in here. Just rubbing back and forth. Let me give her a little bit more. I'm pulling. Now I'm pressing and I'm pulling. So I'm kind of shoving that white back in there. Again, going back and forth over it here. And the style really is a combo of using the smudge tool and the brush tool. We'll get to the brush tool in a second. The brush tool is almost your finishing tool, or a tool for bringing back some light. Let's say I want to give a little edge light to her face. I'm just going to go to the brush tool. Again, I'm going to use a hard round brush, just like what I had before. And I'm going to go in and give a little bit of an edge there. And then if it's too strong, I can go back in and sort of calm it with the smudge tool. The smudge tool is also a great tool for um, anti-aliasing and softening something. Even if you don't want to blend it, let's say that little spot there where my brush is, say I just want to smooth it, I'm just going to lightly brush back and forth. See how it's almost like a blur tool, but it's a blur tool that you have very precise control over. And in this case, I'm actually using it as a primary rendering tool, which I'm sure the folks at Photoshop never intended it to be. But I always did a lot of very blended pencil work and pastel work when I was a young illustrator, and this style just seemed logical to me. And it produces some very interesting results, especially too if you have someone who, or if you yourself do pencils and you want to take them to a finished painting stage. Okay. Now you can see some of it gets a little soft, so if we want to bring back some more detail, I'm just painting with black and white because we're just in grayscale. All we're worrying about is value. We're not worried about color right now. We're worrying about shape and how everything's fitting together. And I'm going to go to black. Make sure this brush, and I'm just going to bring back her Let's check out what this brush tool setting is. Let's see, I have my smooth opacity, do my smooth ink pen. And it's a round brush that also has size on it and opacity. And again, I'm still kind of in the blocking in stage, and this isn't final. Don't think of like I'm inking or something at this stage. So if anything gets a little weird here, I can always again, okay, this shape right here doesn't quite work for me, so I'm going to blend it back into that shape. And I'll blend it back in. Blend it back in. You can even pull out, Chase, I'm going to pull out some little wisps of eyelashes down here. And then blend the sort of broken shape up here. And blend this other part of the eyelash. Blend this part. And that. Really on how smooth you want to go is how much you want to do blending. And then maybe I want to bring back, I'm switching to white, bring back some highlights in the eyes. Little small hard highlights. And a little highlight on the lips wouldn't hurt anything. And let's move on to the hair. Smudging. Now you can do the same technique in either, from Photoshop, heck, probably even Photoshop 3 or 2.5 on up. You just want to make sure you use, if you're a hard brush, so you can really control the edges. Again, if I want to pull back in these lights, I'm I'm putting pressure here and I'm pushing that way, pushing that way. And then I'm just going along here with some pressure, not hard pressure, light pressure, just to smooth that out. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to open up, because I forgot to do it, I'm going to open up and paste in the original pencil drawing so we can jump back and forth to that. You can see how that compares to the work we're doing. This isn't that big a piece. That took a little while to save. All right, let's go ahead and open that up. And remember, I show you and I talk to you guys about a lot of techniques, and part of this is just finding, as being a creative person, what works best for you. You'll see a number of techniques during the course of this demo, and you could use almost exclusively any one of them to do a very nice piece. But I think in combination you get them to work well. But again, whatever works for you, I'll show you all the stuff I know, and I'm sure something will be applicable to what you want to do. And there we go. Just copy this. Just in case you don't know, copying Control A or Apple A selects all. Apple C, Control C, depending on a Mac or a PC. And I'll close that and paste in. We'll make another layer, and then you can see before, after, before, after. Okay. All right, let's get to it. Okay, again, you can see where the stroke's going. I'm following the hairs that Philip has here. I'm just kind of stretching along them and pulling them. Now another way to go is you could take the brush tool. I'm going to magic, or eyedrop I should say, in there. I'm just going to pick that color, and I'm just going to, if it's a big broad area, go ahead and I'll just start brushing with it. But again, I like my hard. Okay. And I'll provide all these brushes on the. And now I'm painting with that darker gray. I'm going to put a little bit of it into the face. Kind of define her nose again a little bit. Yeah, sometimes the smudging will just soften things a little too much. And if you go back in with the brush tool, it's very easy to sort of get some shape back in there. Again, if it's too hard, just go back over it with the smudge tool. And let's say I want to get some more detail in the hair. I can go ahead and I'm going to do some sort of flyaways. And you can do this on a layer if you feel more comfortable doing it that way. I'm going to smudge back over this anyway, but I'm just showing you a technique. And go back in and add some highlights, or go the other way. Just add some more detail. Okay. Going back in with the smudge tool. Okay. Now working on her arm. Yes, this is her arm and her elbow. Just smudging it. You can even use like a little circular move. Went back and forth there, but I was going circular. And notice again, I'm going against when I have rendering that's going this way, I'm going this way. And if I want to keep the shape and smooth it out, then I go with it. But if I want to really kind of blend something, then I tend to go against it, go against the grain. Okay, I'm going to let it fade as it goes down there. Again, I'll bring back some definition in here. Just lightly giving it a little bit of a break in here. And since we're in black and white, I'll even use the tools that in the other tutorials, you've heard me say not to use these tools. But I'm holding the Alt key, by the way, so the dodge tool is actually working as the burn tool. If you hold the Alt key, you get the opposite. If you're on the, for example, if you're on the burn tool and you hold the Alt key, you'll get your dodge tool. But you have to hold the key down. But if you're doing like a tonal thing here, it's pretty handy for getting some values back in here. I always tend to have a very light hand, which I guess is good because you can always beef things up, I think, a little easier than you can lighten things up. See, now that's too strong for me, so I'm going to go ahead and, rather than undoing, I'm going to just blend, because I want some of it. I want there to be some lightness going on in here. Just not as much as I had going there. So I'm just going to blend it away. Okay. Okay, and that was the pencils. And that's where we are so far. And it's not that I don't like the pencils. Don't get me wrong. I'm thinking, oh, I'm improving everything. It's just different. It's apples and oranges. It's just a different technique. And it's kind of a fun technique. So, all right. We'll move on. rather than stopping and trying to get things perfect, sometimes it's best just start to go over the whole darn thing and then jump back and do your detail work later. The smaller your smudge brush is, by the way, the faster it will respond. Like, I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to move into, I'll do a big one and I'll show you how that tends to kill my performance. Okay, this is 30. Let's see, can I pull 30? No. See how that I overdrew it real quickly? I did my two things and you don't see anything, and then you see it. So, small brush, lots of strokes. This is not, I'm working right now on not a fast machine. It's one of my favorite coloring machines though, so that's in painting machine, so that's why I'm using it. But it's a slow machine, so I'm going to try not to overtax it too much. This is the hand. The hand is palm up, holding this rope that's holding this severed goat head, I guess, is what it might be. Remember, I didn't draw it. Philip drew it. Philip has this great just design sense for monsters and stuff, and I'll show you some more of his stuff later. Of course, I'll forget, and I won't, but I'll try. And if I don't, then people get on the message boards and say, you didn't, so show it to us now. So then I'll have to do it. So we have message boards on www.digitalarttutorials.com. So if you have questions as you're going through these things, or suggestions, or what have you, or you just want to chat with some people about some artwork, there seems to be a growing community of folks on there. I usually get on about once or a week, or once every couple of weeks, depending on how crazy my schedule is, to answer questions. But usually there's such an informed group of people on there now that they usually answer the questions to the same answers that I would give, and before I even get a chance to get to them. So I was just messing around in the top part of the hair there. Alright. Now I'm going to treat that like a broken horn. And I'm just, again, little strokes, blending it together. I'm pressing. If there's like full force, I'm probably pressing about a quarter of how hard I could press. Maybe even 10%. If I press 100%, then I can literally drag the stuff I'm smudging with. But I don't want that. Thank goodness for the undo tool. Okay. Now again, the other way to do this would be to go with the brush tool and kind of using this as an underpainting. I drop a lot of it. In other words, I drop the color that you're going to be painting with and bring back his strokes in a more painterly way. But you're using Philip's drawing and you're just laying brushwork right on top of it. But see, that's another way to do it. And that gives us some nice textury stuff. You can either kind of almost draw with it. Staying in the brush mode. This is where we're getting to the ear here. That's one way to do hair. You can also do hair. If I go back to the smudge tool, and I go to something like this with a brush with some little splatters in it. That's great for pulling out hair. See how that's doing that? Let's go ahead and see what the setting is. We got spacing, but we want to have strength dynamics on there because you want to be able to control the pressure otherwise. So now I have strength dynamics on there. And again, I'm just pulling down. And you can see you get these automatic sort of wispy hair-like shapes that I guess a goat would have. And see, I'll even pull it. I'll make some where Philip didn't even necessarily have some. I'll just make his rendering so it's more like, so it's even more hair-like than what he had.